Welcome to Gracious Girls Club. This week, we're branching just a little bit outside of North Alabama, not too far. We're going to meet Dori, and she works at UAB. So Dori, welcome so much to Gracious Girls Club. We're so glad you could be here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So introduce yourself and walk me through where you work. I already kind of told them where you work, but what exactly it is that you do.
Exactly. My name's Dori Pekmezi. I am professor and vice chair of research here in the Department of Health Behavior in the School of Public Health at the University of Alabama in Birmingham. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, incredibly prestigious. I mean, UAB is known all across the country for the rigor in their classes. So obviously you're one of the ones that keeps that up. Walk me through kind of what your day-to-day looks like.
Right. I have been at UAB for over 15 years now, and I've never had one day look like the other. And that's what keeps me coming back. So as a tenured professor, my job is a mix of research, teaching, and service, kind of the three pillars of academia.
Mm-hmm.
And so every day is just different mixes of that. So like, for example, today when I get off this call, I'm going to be working on some data analyses from a recently completed NIH-funded physical activity trial and preparing a manuscript describing those results for publication. After that, I'm going to transition to meeting with my PhD student to help discuss her dissertation project and her job search. And I'll transition from that to meeting with my research staff. We have got a site visit coming up for a yoga and diabetes management study. So we're the funding officials. They send people in to check in with us, make sure we're doing our research the way it should be done. And after that, I'll start jumping on other Zoom calls for meetings on my other ongoing studies.
That is so cool.
Yeah, like every day it's something new. Some days I'm writing. Most of the day I'm putting on a lot of different hats on the hour, every hour.
Right, that's how it goes in the university schedule, right? But that's so cool. And so that was something, I have two brothers that are much older than me, and I did not realize that college professors often research as much, if not more frequently than they teach classes. And that was something I didn't realize till they were in college. And then it was so cool to see it on my front too. And now fast forward, I have friends that are those professors that are doing that. And it's so awesome that you kind of get to have your hand, like, a lot of times you'll hear people say, I got into management and now I no longer do what I even got into this to do. Now I'm just a manager. But being a professor is very different. You get to teach those classes, but you never have to give up what you first went into the field for.
Never. It's a great job because you do not compromise, and your teaching informs your research and your research informs your teaching. You know, you come to school, come to your classroom every day with like analogies from ongoing projects that you can share with the class to kind of illustrate your points.
Which is so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling I know the answer to this, but of the letters in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, which of those letters do you feel most applies to you, or which sequence of letters?
Ooh, I think I would fall under the science because very much about the scientific method. Most of my day is writing up hypotheses or generating hypotheses and then testing them or writing about how they were tested and what the findings were.
Give me an example of something that you might hypothesize and then some findings that you may have.
Yes. Okay. So today I'm working on the data analysis I'll be running is physical activity outcomes from a physical activity telephone intervention in 6 rural Alabama counties. So my hypotheses are that the people who receive this telephone counseling for physical activity, along with Fitbits, are going to show increases in physical activity, significantly greater increases in physical activity than the waitlist control. And my next hypothesis is that we're going to replicate these findings with the waitlist control once they receive access to the physical activity counseling and the Fitbits.
Wow, how incredibly cool. And you said that's for 6 rural Alabama counties?
Yes.
So your research is right here at home.
It is. Yeah. We're in the black belt.
That is so awesome. I love it. So, walk me through the best part of your job.
Oh man, hands down, uh, over the past 15 years, the most exciting part of my job is seeing the success of mentees, of my students, being there for their graduation, getting to hood them at the ceremony, when they nail that grant, when they give that presentation, and just show their true colors. It's like butterflies when they come out of the cocoon, and they're just bolder and just reaching their potential. That's that's the best part.
Oh my gosh, I can believe it. And then getting to see that you had a hand in that and you got to be there with them and help them through that. And now look at what they're about to go do. That's incredible.
It is such a gift because when you take on a PhD student, that is well, I say it's a lifetime sentence, but it is definitely at least a 4 to 5 year, almost daily, weekly commitment to working with this person. And then most of my PhD students, I'm still collaborating with them as faculty now that they've grown and flown.
That is awesome. So, if that's the best part of your job, what is maybe the most challenging?
Oh man, I would say to be in the STEM field, the organization and time management. There's so much to do, and
Yeah.
you just cannot do it all. So figuring out where your passion lies and where your skills lie, and saying yes to the things that just speak to you, that intrigue you, and following your curiosity and passion. But that also involves it's hard to say no to things that you might not be the best fit for, but you have to. Yeah.
It's
So
it's so true. That's actually something that comes up kind of frequently in GGC interviews is everyone says STEM is so vast. You can do so many different things. So you have to kind of try everything and then whittle
yeah,
it down to what you want to do. But you could be trying 15 things before you get there.
and exhausting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always try and remind myself like it's a marathon,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's a career. You can do it all, just not today.
That is words. I mean, I should get that on a bumper. That's like should be my motto. You can do it all, just not today. So, okay, so that's the best and the most challenging part of your job. Let's say I'm a young girl at home and I'm watching this and I think, okay, that's pretty cool. I think I would like to do this. Walk me through academically how you got to where you are today, and then what advice you might have for someone that's trying to follow your path.
Oh wow. Um, okay, so in terms of school, I did an undergraduate psychology major, and I got involved with the honors program, both the university-wide honors and the psychology honors program, and I cannot recommend those enough. I got involved in research as an undergrad. So if you think this might be for you, there are often research opportunities on campus that you can intern with and, to serve as a graduate, undergraduate research assistant, ways to kind of, get your feet wet and, see if this does speak to you, if this is something that you enjoy. After that, I went straight into a PhD program for undergrad, and that's not for everyone, but I was pretty intense. And I'd already been involved with a lot of research, so that worked for me. And after I got my PhD in clinical psychology, I did a postdoc. So this is becoming more and more common, instead of going straight from a PhD into the field, a lot of times people are doing like postdoctoral research fellowships or other kind of programs. I did I was really interested as a clinical psychologist in exercise and physical activity. So I wanted to learn more about that science. So I went to Brown Medical School and did a cardiovascular behavioral medicine postdoctoral research fellowship for 2 years to fill in that gap in my training. And then I transitioned from that to a faculty position at UAB.
Well, there you
So
go. That is quite the journey.
yeah, yeah. And so if I had advice for anyone who's considering it, I would say go for it. And it's a blast. It's a lot of hard work. Um, So maybe it'll be, you want to make sure this is something that feeds your soul and, excites you. And I would encourage them to look for the mentors, look for the helpers. I got here because of so many kind people that were willing to feed me, to show me how to run, software programs, to let me shadow their research endeavors and to review my work. So, and now it's kind of my chance to get to give back, to get to be that person, and that's a wonderful opportunity.
It absolutely is. And it's so amazing that you can look back and say, oh my gosh, it was all of this village of people that got me here. Going back to the postdoc, is that something that you would recommend for pretty much everybody, or is that something that was just uniquely suited for you?
Well, I would say it is a great opportunity. Each person is their own person and has to figure out, what career path suits them. But for me, knowing that I wanted to chase NIH, National Institutes of Health grants, and wanted to be a funded researcher with my own lab, it was so inspirational to be able to go to Brown to work with my research idol and watch how her day-to-day research program operated, and to write grants and write research papers and to give presentations with this person for years before I was on my own leading my own lab. So I found that a great investment of my time.
Absolutely. I can totally agree. I 100% see where you're coming from. And then the research that you do is the foundation for the next academic building block. And then it just keeps going up the ladder, which is a very cool cycle to be a part of.
It is. It is.
So one last question before I let you get back to all that research and everything you're learning and the physical activity and all of it. If you had a message to young girls or any young students that were interested in joining the STEM workforce, what would your message to them be?
Oh, uh, that we're excited to have you.
Oh.
That is a great environment. And, there are challenges, but you can do it. Listen to yourself and, follow your passion. Find the things that excite you. Uh, you know, uh, Try out a bunch of different research programs and research laboratories. Spend your time interning and make the choices that speak to you, because it's going to be your job, your career, and make sure it's one you enjoy.
That is so sweet and so true and crucial too. But it is exciting. We are glad to have them, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and expertise. This is a little bit of an untapped field in GGC for us. We've kind of towed the line, but I think people are really going to learn a lot from you and from this field that we haven't delved much into before. So I'm really glad that you're able to come today, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.